Hello humans, Lineator Gaming here. Welcome to Space Engineers. Today we're going to do a tutorial on a how-to guide of how to play Space Engineers. I'm going to try to explain to you all the ways or how to understand the game, so if you decide to play, you kind of have an idea of what's going on. I will have a stream running in just a minute, but I want to do an intro. So, alright. Let's get into this, and I'll start the stream so you guys can ask questions, and if there is questions, put them in comment section down below. I'll do another video if I get enough questions, and let's go ahead and get into this. Alright. Alright, so, welcome to Space Engineers. We are on, well, in the game, this is called an Earth-like planet. Now, I just call it Earth because it makes it easy. But right now, we are flying in our little spacesuit. And we're just hanging out. So, I guess I need to start off with this game has the basics of actual gravity in the world. So, if you fall and hit the ground, you are going to die. I mean, let's start with that. Right now we're in creative, because creative is going to be the easiest way to show you guys everything. But basically, this game is all about exploring, creating the general sandbox type game. You can create your own missions and all that. This is, I mean, kind of like Minecraft, except it's all about like real science and space. Well, for the most part, you can't put all of it in there. Hello, E-Natural, how you doing, buddy? Alright, I guess I need to explain that again since my mic was off. So, in this game, yeah, my mic is off. There we go. Fixed it. Alright, there you go. So, let me explain all this again, because my mic was off. But if you see on the left-hand side, there is a helmet, a jetpack, which is X, your GPS system, which is O, and your light, which is L. And the bottom part is your health, obviously, your oxygen, your power of your suit, and your hydrogen. The power of your suit is for basically powering your tools and all that, and powering your suit so you don't like freeze to death. But alright, but on Earth we can have our helmet off, and we can look at the world and not die. I don't know why it's so dark outside. It's supposedly supposed to start during the day, but I guess it just didn't want to. By the way, it's really good to see you, E-Natural. I don't know if you heard that earlier. Alright, so we have a toolbar at the bottom. And there's 9 different rows you can make. You could set up for whatever you need. We're going to go ahead and clear this out. Yes, it has been a while, buddy. I'm going to try to stream a little more. Kinda works, kinda got me. Alright, we're going to start with blocks. So, there are big blocks and small blocks. So, this is a large grid, this is a small grid. There's 2 grids. So this is a large grid, this is a small grid. So you can make large grid ships and large grid bases and all that, and then we can make small grid stuff. Bases are not really mainly for small grid. Alright? So, what you need for a ship is power. So we're going to go grab a battery from here. We'll put it here. And since I'm in creative, it'll automatically get power. When you build a battery, it will automatically have 25% power remaining, always. So you'll always have power when you make a battery. At least a little bit. Now, so we have power on our little thing, and we're going to put power on our little platform right here. Here's a battery for that. See? It's 25%, and since I'm in creative, it's going to charge all the way to full. So you have a battery. And there's a crap ton of blocks you can use to build. You can have doors. We're going to put a door. Put a door here. You can move it any which way. Hello, B. Harris. So you can create your own like little houses or whatever you want to do. Now, this guy can move because this is in, since it's not connected to any like surface like here, this is a ship, if that makes any sense. This right here is a station because it is stationary. You can't move it, it can't move. The game's logic does that. What you can do is open and close the door. What you can do is go into info, go to convert to ship, which converts any station to a ship. Ships can move and rotate. Well, I appreciate you being here, B. Harris. There's also... So right now it's a station, which is... Station is stationary. In order to convert to a station, both angular and linear velocity has to be 0. So basically, it needs to be not moving at all. Alright. But, so this is a station, this is a ship, if that makes sense. So since this is a ship, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put a atmospheric thruster on it. Now, there's 3 types of thrusters in this game. Goodbye. Farewell. Well, that didn't work. Alright, I'm just going to continue. So there's 3 types of thrusters in this game. There is atmosphere, there is hydrogen, and then there is ion. Ion. Explosion. Ion, which is this one that just fell and exploded, is meant for space. You can't use it in atmosphere. It won't work in atmosphere. And like the atmospheric thruster will not work in space. It's pretty simple. Atmospheric, atmosphere, ion, space. There is a third option though. It's called hydrogen. Man, I really like putting stuff on fire. This stuff does not take damage. But that's okay. We need some mood lighting. Let's try this way. Wow, you guys just really don't like me. Alright, let's fix you real quick. Alright, so this is a hydrogen thruster. The hydrogen thruster is interesting because, like this guy, you need to use power in order for it to work, and so does the ion, which is this guy. You need power. But for this one, you have to connect it to a hydrogen-based, like a hydrogen tank, like this guy. We're gonna go for a small one though. So for this to even work, you have to hook a hydrogen tank to it. So now if I added a battery to this, technically I can make this fly into there, which honestly sounds like a lot of fun. But not today. Alright? Alright. That kind of makes it to y'all. Alright. So now I'm going to show you Rovers. Now I have a pre-built rover from one of my series that I'm going to put down here. Let it load for a second. Here it is. It's loading. There you go. Now, I still love that. Let's turn you off real quick because you don't need to. Alright, so in here we have a battery. And I'm going to grab one of these so I can delete stuff if I need to. We have a battery for power. An antenna so we can find it later. This is a small hydrogen tank for power. And this is the way to drive it. Now, as you can see, it's having a little bit of issue. Why Home Alone quote? Will be Harris. If you were there when I built it, you would understand. So, if a ship or a rover does not have enough power to run, it will try its best. Now, this little battery guy right here, these two guys is what's running it right now, which is not enough power to run this pretty big vehicle. So that's why it's having trouble. So you have to have enough power to run your stuff. If you can see from the right side, that little thing that's buzzing and making red blinking noises over there, that's telling you there's not enough power to be powering this vehicle. So that's something you have to watch out for. Alright. But yeah, you can build anything, practically. You can make the ships as ugly or as beautiful as you want. You can color them with, on computer, you can push P. You can have any color you want. You have, if this is with all the DLCs, but you have all these different types of camo. If you want to do a woodland camo and a green, one thing you have to do is start painting. And if you wanted to paint a good chunk, you push CL and then the paint button, which is the middle mouse button for me. And if you wanted to paint a lot of it, you'd push the shift button and it paints a good amount. And if you wanted to paint everything, every bit of it, from just all of it, every single thing from inside, outside, everywhere, you push Control and Shift with the mouse button, and then your whole vehicle, as you can see, is now that color. And look, it still looks pretty cool looking. But yeah, you can build just about anything you want. Now, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you a ship I've been working on recently. That is not the right button. There we go. And you can make your ships do just about anything you want. Now this guy is my creation. The Stargazer Mark II. And here's basically what it looks like on the inside. Now this ship came from, well, mainly it came from an idea I got by building a ship on a series I was doing. Now let me basically go inside and show you what's going on here. So, as you can see, the thing is floating on its own without me touching it. I'm not controlling this at all. It's just staying up by itself. That is default. So, if we go to the control seat, if you see on the left-hand side, there is, it looks like a little, like, speed dial. You can see the numbers going up and down right now. That's your speed. Now, by default, and probably, I believe, in the Xbox version, this max speed you can go is 110, I think it's meters per second, because all this is in, metrics. So, but in computer, you can put in mods to make yourself go faster or slower, or whatever you want. Now, if you see the little triangle, that is your dampeners. Now, what that's doing for us, the dampeners, is keeping us steady. It's keeping us in one place. If you turn them off, you just fall. Now, so if you're just up in the air, and you turn your dampeners off, you'll instantly start falling because there's nothing keeping you in the air. So, it's pretty darn cool. Makes it kind of real. Now, let's go around and I'm going to explain all these different types of thrusters and what they're doing. So, you can see the ion thrusters here are blue. These are ion thrusters. These are the large warfare ion thrusters, not the standard ones, because I thought they'd look cool, so I put them on here. But these guys is what's in the original. So that's an ion thruster, a small ion thruster. But so they're blue. Right now, these guys are not doing anything but just telling me that they're on. They're not moving, they're not going anywhere, they're not keeping me up at all, they're just on. What's keeping me up is these guys. These are the atmospheric thrusters. They work best in atmosphere, they don't work at all in space. Basically, think of helicopters. It's a good way I thought about it. See? Helicopters. They just keep me up. So these guys are great for on planets or in basically just worlds. I mean, they're good for atmosphere, which is worlds. So, and then you have these guys. These guys are the hydrogen thrusters. These guys actually burn fuel. Fuel being hydrogen. I'll explain that in a little bit in a minute. So they actually are burning real fuel instead of these and these running straight off the batteries. So if you have power, like from batteries, you can run these guys. You need hydrogen for these. So, as you see, we're still staying up. There are guns in this game. This game is really fun to have a bunch of people or a bunch of you versus environment where you're fighting people off. You have different guns. They just added a crap ton of new guns recently. Like this guy. He's a lot of fun to shoot, just to let you know. But yeah, so that's all the thrusters. And as you can see, the hydrogen thruster is connected to a hydrogen tank so he can run. Alright, so let's just start learning a little bit about ships and how what the basics are. So in a ship, you need a way to control it, the control seat, or any of the other control stations, any of these. So you can pilot it. What you also need for them is gyroscopes for ships, so you can move left and right. Without having to use too much of your thrusters. So they help you move in space and move a little easier, so you don't always have to use all your thrusters all the time. Okay? So what all these are is, this is the conveyor system that you have to connect. See, with hydrogen, you need to have a connector connect them to your tanks or whatever so they can run. If you do not connect those tubes or directly connect it to the tanks, they won't run. But with ions or atmospheric thrusters, which are these guys, you don't have to put anything with them. Alright? So these help move stuff around like parts. I don't think do I have any parts in here right now? Yeah, I have a gun in here. All that. So you can move parts like Hello, highlighter 18. So these are parts that you can build, but you need to get resources to build them. So you get resources from finding stuff on planets. There is a specific device called an ore detector that helps you find stuff. And now if you just start in a random world like Earth, you can mine the ground and get some just random iron, nickel stuff. But if you need to get a good amount of resources, you'd have to find a iron node or something like that. Let's go see if we can find one. I'm going to go ahead and close this bad boy so we can fly for a minute without hitting any trees. Let's make sure my little friend is on real quick. So I need to make sure my ore detector's on. So if you push on computer K, it brings your terminal up. Now this is your terminal. It shows all the parts of your ship or rover. So you can easily go in, toggle them on and off, rename them, give them just tweak them or whatever you need to do. There's even custom data, which is a little far-fetched for me. But it's a lot of stuff you can do. Now, let's see. You can search bar. We're going to search ore. So the ore detector is currently off. Toggle block. So it's off right now. So I need to turn that back on. Grab its range and put it up to maximum. So now we can hopefully find some ores. Now you won't find them always instantly, and I'm going to hit tree. Nope, I missed the tree. You can fly around and be all dangerous and make all crazy moves. But the bigger the ship is, the harder it is, the more you can blow something up. Now let's go check out the damage. Now actually, let's make sure I'm level. Alright, let's go check out the damage. Something's leaking. Alright, so we slammed into the side of the mountain. And we lost both our Gatling guns at the bottom. Which is actually not the worst thing in the world. You can always rebuild them. Oh, we also lost our landing gear. Uh-oh. And our connector. Now, okay, so what a connector is it's a way for you to connect a ship like this to a station or to another ship to exchange resources or add or subtract any resources you have. So if you need to move something from one ship to another, you would use a connector like this. Now, this connector is currently damaged and I can't use it. But with the right parts, you can fix it. But since we're in creative, I can just fix anything because I'm kind of in like God mode right now, so close that up. Yeah. Depends on how hard you hit the ground. Sometimes you hit the ground and it's gonna make you do a spin out and you'll be fine, or sometimes you hit the ground and guess what, friends? Your ship is now scrap. You know, I probably should go ahead and bring the last landing gear up. Alright. So, this game's all about exploration and basically hanging out with your friends and just enjoying time in your universe. Now, there are 2 game modes in this. There is survival and creative. Creative, you can do whatever you want. If you want to build a ship, you can build a ship. If you want to just have random fights with your friends with something you've built, you can do that. You can paste stuff from your clipboard. Basically kind of like Microsoft Paint or any type of like Microsoft document. You can go, let me out please. Thank you. You can go and you can grab an object and you can copy it to make a second one. Or you can cut it. It'd be copied to your clipboard. Boom. Oh, I want to move it over here now. Paste. And then you can paste it. And there it is. Alright. Now, in this game, you really need to learn one main thing. That if you don't keep your ship powered and fueled, this can happen. Well, I just turned my ship off. So right now, we are flying in the air. I can't do anything. I can't do anything at all. My ship is just free falling right now. And it's gonna get really messy in about 20 seconds. Ooh, this is gonna be bad. Alright. So, now since I crashed, batteries are all offline and all broken, and my ship is now in pieces. Well, not really. We didn't hit hard enough, really. But you can tell it's not working anymore. So, there are 3 colors to these things, to batteries, to let you know if they're working or not. Red is unpowered. Yeah, that was a crash landing, but a purposeful one. But a red, right here, means it's not powered. If it's yellow, that means it's powered, but off. If it's blue for batteries, it means it's recharging. Or for hydrogen tanks, it means it's recharging. And green, obviously, green means you're good. You're good to go. So, what we're going to do is I am going to make an example of this guy. I'm going to go for default. I'm going to put him as a mossy armor to make him look pretty. And we're going to turn this completely into a mossy looking color. And we're going to stop the fire. There we go. So now it looks like the ship's been here for a while. It crash landed. So it now fits into the environment. Alright. Let's go back to our little platform over here. To our nice Christmas rover, which I will now delete. Goodbye. I just reenacted the Anakin's landing in Revenge of the Sith. That's funny. Alright, so far you guys, do you guys have any questions about anything I've explained so far? I got rid of my door. Yeah, that's kind of the reason I'm trying to do this video, so people can understand how to play. Alright, well now I'm going to move to a new part of the video, and I'm going to explain welders. So these guys are welders. I'm going to go out my little person here. So the little thing in my hand is a welder. It's great for fixing stuff. It makes a great time fixing stuff. There are four levels of welders. There is the basic, the enhanced, the proficient, and the elite. Now the only true difference that you can tell is the little, I forget what that's called. It's an army term. But you can see them down here. So that's this. So that's basic, first level, second level, third level, obviously. It's just the more levels, the faster they go, the better they go. Just makes it a little bit easier. Now, let's go ahead and get an assembler here. Except we're going to color it our normal colors because... So, when you play the game, there is... When you first land on the planet, you need to build yourself a little base. No, you don't have any resources. So, you will need to find a basic refinery and a basic assembler. So, the refinery, its sole purpose is to basically break down anything. The higher the rank, the better they are? Yes, that's exactly right. The higher the rank, the better they are. So if it's a 0, it's the worst one. It's practically the basic one you get. If it's the 2, it's almost the best. And if it's the 3, you got the best welder, best tool out there. There's even some guns, and we're going to get to guns in a minute because guns are fun. But I'm going to keep going with the basics right now. So this guy is the basic refinery. I'm going to get back tools real quick. So the basic refinery basically refines certain ores like ground. Now let's go ahead and I'm going to get some ground real quick just to show you what it does with our elite drill because I am cheap. Now caution, this does get a little loud. I'm going to try to back off the camera real quick while the guy grabs some stuff. Alright, so you see those little stone things right here. It says stones. Those are little, just, well, stones you got from mining. I know that was really simple, but you explain it all. So you take the stones that are now in your inventory, see, and you put them in the refinery. What it's instantly going to start doing is turning them into different types of ingots or resources, which you can then use a basic assembler for the beginning of the game to craft stuff. So you see this little part right here, this yellow little guy right here. This is really important. You always want to put him and connect him with another side. So they'll connect, now they're together. So now I could put stuff in the refinery, it's gonna refine it, make it into ingots and iron and all that, and I can now use the assembler that I connected to the refinery to make a steel plate. And then you can put steel plate in your hand and go build whatever the heck you want to build. Really simple, really easy. Now, the basic assembler can only handle, like, I believe it's iron, nickel, coke. It's iron, nickel, silicone, and then I think it's only gravel. That's all it can handle. But with the big refinery, and I mean, it is big. This guy is the actual refinery. This guy can handle anything from gold to platinum to anything like that. This is the main deal. If you are building a base, if you're building a ship, this is what you need. So, I'm used to playing in the my series world and hear something, and it's usually a wolf trying to kill me. So, I'm a little cautious. But anyway, this is the refinery. So this is basically the exact same thing as this, except this can do all the ores, and this can only do a certain amount. Don't do that. That's a little bit annoying. Alright. Go grab our light block. Oh. So, say something crazy happens, and you accidentally break down your refinery, and you still had stuff in it. Well, their stuff comes in little squares like this, or parts like this. So there's a steel plate, there's some silicone, some nickel, an iron, and the obviously steel plate. So if something crazy happens, you can still salvage some of this stuff. Alright. So there are 2 levels to the refineries. There is the basic refinery. The basic refinery. And the actual refinery. Alright. There's also the basic assembler, which can only craft basic equipment, and then the assembler, which can craft all of it. Which you will basically need these to start doing anything. Alright? So as long as you have power, and you have a refinery, and a assembler, you are doing pretty good. The next thing I'm going to go over is a survival kit. Now these guys, these are your best friends. In the game, this is a survival kit. They come in large grid and small grid. They are your best friends. So if, for some reason, you're up in the air, and you all of a sudden are upside down, falling to your death, and there's nothing you can do, and you die, you'll spawn back at your survival kit. So the survival kit is basically the base tier. It's just the regular one. There also is... Where is it at? I always forget what these are called. Here it is, the medical room. So, this is the basic one, which, with this, you can actually use this as a assembler, an assembler as well. This is basically an all-in-one survival tool. It gives you power if hooked up to power. It gives you hydrogen if it's hooked up to hydrogen. You can use it to craft. You can use it to refine, like here, and put it in here to make ingots. The only problem is it's the worst kind. It's really slow and it's really just for basic survival. Obviously, survival kit. Makes sense. But this guy, this is the medical room. This gives you quick healing. You can customize your character to make him look all pretty. You can customize your tools, your weapons, all that kind of stuff. But you always need to hook it up to the appropriate stuff so it can give you what you need. But these are the basic 2 need to know, need to have in your base type of stuff. Alright? And if you guys have any questions, just throw it in chat. I'll look over every couple seconds and I'll answer it as soon as I see it. Otherwise, I'm just going to keep on rolling. Now, okay. So, we've gone over survival stuff. Alright, let's go for these guys now. So, this is a solar panel. What it does is obvious. You put it here, collects sunlight, gives you power. Really simple. It's great for on planet and space. Only downside is it doesn't give you that much power. It's kind of just a booster. It doesn't give you that much. Now, let's go into the menu. So if you go to this little thing and push F on the computer, you can go to solar panel. It's currently putting 124 kilowatts, which is basically nothing. So, this battery has 12 megawatts in it. Now, you truly don't need to know the megawatts and the gigawatts, and you basically can look at these 4 things and go, oh, I have 100%, I have 75, 50, less than 25%. And if it's completely out, and you don't see any, you're less than 25%. And if it's red, it's dead. Red is dead. Always remember that. So, right now, it's getting great sunlight because it's just creative, and it's just going to be like that. The second way to make power on a planet or atmosphere is a turbine. Turbines make power automatically. You don't have to do anything. No sunlight, no really wind. It will always make power. Now, it's making poor power right now because we are literally right next to the ground. But if you decide to put one up really, 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 really high, check on Turbine 2, optimal, which means it's making really, really good fuel, really, really good power. So, poor, you see it's moving really, really slow, and optimal, when it's moving really, really fast. So the higher off the ground you make it, the better you make it. Alright? Pretty simple. I don't want to break things. Oh, and this is just a pro tip here. Say if you're just like basically just trying to make your base a little better, and you do one of these numbers, you lose your power. And then it's eventually going to fall over. Timber! So don't do that. It's not fun, especially if you have a crap ton of stuff on there. Alright. The last power thing I want to go over is reactors. Now, a reactor is nuclear, obviously. So what this does is it uses uranium. Now, you can't find uranium on planets. On most planets. I actually haven't found a planet that has uranium on it. Only way you can find it on planets is if it comes through an asteroid. Now, I have asteroids turned off because I'm trying to do a tutorial, so. But if you find uranium and refine it in a large refinery, or the big refinery, you could put it in here, and it'll create power. There is two types of refineries. There is a small one, and a big one. So if you have like a kind of medium-sized large grid ship, since these are large grid blocks, you can put it in here. If you have a massive ship and you need a lot of power going, you can use a large one. How much power are you pulling right now, my friend? Large reactor, 300 megawatts. That's a lot of power. And you, my friend, are how much? 15. So basically, I would need like, what, 20 of these to equal one of those or something like that. That's crazy. Alright, ready, you guys? Oh, probably should fix that. There we go. Fixed good as new. Alright. So we've gone through power. We've gone through our thrusters. So now we can go through cargo containers and conveyors. Alright, so you're setting up your base. You need a place to store all your crap. All your pretty little things you found. You put in a cargo container. There are three sizes of cargo containers. There's a small, medium, and large. That's the small one for a large grid. And here's a large one for a large grid. You can put 15... I don't even know how much. That's a crap ton. Let's see. You can put 15,625, I think that's liters? I could be wrong for this guy. But for this massive monstrosity, you can put 421,000. So basically, that holds an insane amount, and that holds a pretty decent amount for a small base or whatever. Alright, let's go back and put you back here, and I'll put one here. So, say, let's get some stuff going here. So we got a refinery. You got your assembler. And you put them all over your base because you didn't know what you're doing. Well, what you can do to link them all together is using a conveyor. Now there's 4 types of conveyors. There's the Conveyor Junction, which is an all-sided one, which basically you can connect them on any side and it'll work. There is the Tube, which uses less resources, but does basically the same thing. It's one-directional. A curved, same thing except it's curved. And then the sorter. We're going to get back to the sorter in a minute. But for now, we're just going to go connecting all our stuff here. Real quick. So you can see what I'm talking about. Now, as you can see, this guy is green. Green is good. Always good. If it's good, it's running correctly, it's running efficiently. Yellow is not. There's something wrong. You didn't connect it somewhere. So, you need to find out what's disconnected and fix it. Because then it'll turn green. So, let's go ahead and we're about to talk about sorters. We're going to go into this guy for a second. See, now we have stuff running from here that will go into here, that'll store in here, and they'll run in through here. Now, if something wants to go from this guy, from this cargo container, to this assembler, it can. If you want to run something from this assembler to here, it can. If you want to run something from this cargo container to that cargo container, you can. But with this guy, he's very particular. He only wants to go one way, and his arrow points the way. So, with a sorter, you can tell what you want it to let go through. If you want ammo to go through, or hand tools, or ingots, or ores, you can determine what goes which way. Alright? So, if you're trying to be really particular on where you're putting your stuff, if you want to go in certain bins or whatever, you can do that. You can make it, you could sort it into it like you want. Alright? Simple enough. We look like a really interesting little base now. Alright, so now we're going to talk a little bit about an ore finder. So what an ore finder does, it's exactly what its name says. It finds your ores. It detects ores up to 150 meters, so if you have any ores around, this guy will tell you. That's its sole purpose, that's the only thing it does. You basically need one if you're playing in a survival world. Right now, we are not, so it's probably not going to tell me much of anything, which is okay. So, really important, ore detectors help you find ores. Ores help you get stuff so you can build all your pretty things. Next thing is me falling. No. Next thing is an antenna. There we go. Just being particular. An antenna does exactly what an antenna normally would do, is it tells you where your place is. The farther you get, though, eventually you'll get out of range of your antenna, and it will disappear. Eventually. Evidently, I did not set it to a small number, but that's okay. Eventually, it'll go away. But it basically is a very important thing for you to have when you're trying to remember where your base is. And trust me, in the vast vacuum of space, you will need it. Alright? So, you got your little base, you got all your stuff, and then you built... I do not know what I did. I need this first. I need to get back in my body. Alright, I don't know what I did, but that's okay. So you did all that, you built your base, you found your resources. Now you need to build your ship. What you could do is build a ship out of creative. So if you have a ship that you created already, you could save it. Now on computer, it's Control B. I don't know what it is on Xbox. You should let me know down in the comments so I can tell everybody else. But you can create your own little ships. And if you're in survival, like if you're in this world, you can just go, oh, here it is. Good as new. And evidently, I need to refit this. The magic of space engineers. Thank you, Clang. Anyway. I guess I need to revamp that a little bit. Cool. Alright. So, you built yourself a ship in creative, but you want to put it in your survival world. How do you do that? Well, let me tell you. It's called a projector. A projector is this little doodad that if you have a blueprint of a ship that you created already, only thing you have to do is go to the projector, make sure it's on, grab a blueprint, go to the ship you want, and it creates it for you. Now, you might have to do a little tinkering here and there to get it so you're able to build it. And I'm going to quickly show you how you do that. Now this one is more of a trial and error. You just have to figure it out. I can't see anything. There we go. So you can see the outline of the ship. Let's go outside my body real quick. Go back to the control panel, projector, and then you just kind of play with it a tad bit and see exactly which way you need to go. Alright. So now we have it over here. And I'm going to go ahead and delete this guy because he's no longer a use to me. Now you have it here. And you're like, sweet, I have my awesome, cool vehicle that looks awesome sauce. Well, there's one problem. The projector's out of bounds. So what that means, simply, is the ship's not connected to anything. So what you'd need to do is somehow get it so it's connected to some kind of part of it, some block, so there's a place for it to stay so it's not just floating in the middle of the air. And you just gotta tweak it until you have it perfectly. Alright, so now, since I have now connected the ship to basically the ground so I can start building, I can go to this new block that we found and start building it. And you could do that for the whole ship. Like so. Now, what I like to do is show only buildable. So once you got your ship and it's ready and it's good and whatever, and it's connected, you push to buildable. So now it just shows you what parts you can build, so you can easily go finish this part real quick, bunch that guy, and you could build it piece by piece until it's ready to fly. Again, I'm not going to build this ship right now because I can just pop it out of nowhere. But let me show you this guy. So this is a jump drive. This is pretty hard stuff to come by, but if you're on Earth, this is really easy to come by to build this. It just takes a lot of time and effort. What this thing does is, you know, in Star Wars, is there a build limit to how much you can copy? Yes and no. In, I think, this world, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I know there's a way to look at it. It's like, I think it's like 100,000 blocks or 100,000 PSI. Now, a PSI, so this ore detector has 40 PCUs. There it is, PCUs. If you see in the middle of it, there's these little 3 blocks, and then you see PCU, and there's 40. I think it's like 100,000 or 10,000 is like the max, is the basic one. If you set it that way, that's the way it goes. Now, on Xbox, you might not be able to change it. On PC, you can extend it or decrease it or cut it off, because you kind of get to know what your computer can do and can't do, or you should anyway. But so I'm gonna say no for the most part. I don't think, if you have built the ship before, you should be able to put it on the projector. But if it's straight from creative, you can, here, I'll show you. I'm going to go up really high for a minute. So I'm going to copy a space station that I built. Well, built. I robbed. I stole it. So I'm going to go ahead, and we're going to go all the way down to the Epic Station. It's going to take a second to load. It's still loading. There we go. This has 10,620 PCU, a total of 5,327 blocks. This thing is massive. Like, massive. And we're about to drop it onto the thing like a plummeting thing because I want to. But yeah, so I'm gonna say no, there isn't, but there probably is a certain amount that the Xbox could handle. So if the Xbox has a certain PCU, it might stop you, but on PC, it'll let you. Oh, it's a station. So that's just gonna stay there. Yeah. But yeah, look how massive this is. Oh, a dead guy. Yeah, you should be able to copy anything that you created on your clipboard. Wow, that thing's falling faster than I am. Yeah, to answer your question, yes, you can paste whatever you have in your clipboard. Alright, I'm gonna let that do whatever it's gonna do, and we're gonna fly back to our little antenna over here, which helped me find where it's at. Fun. Destruction. But yeah, so this is a jump drive. Back to what I was saying before. This basically is, you know, in Star Wars or in random explosions. You know, in Star Wars and Star Trek, they can jump into hyperspace. This is practically the same thing, except there's no hyperspace lanes and it's not unlimited. You can only travel up to 200 or 2,000 kilometers, I think. I think that's it. I think that's the max with one of these. Cool. Yeah. But you basically need to build one of these before you get off planet, unless you're doing a challenge, and then you're in trouble. Now, the sad part about it is you can't build a jump drive for small ships. It's only a large ship thing. So, if I build this, it's only going to be for large ships, not for anything else. Alright? Any more general questions about the basics of space engineers? Alright, so you see this ship I've built. We have currently landed. I'm going to show you, this is basically my all-around ship for space, atmosphere, and all that. This is the one I built myself. Now, I just found out that, so when you first build it, you should make it like a prototype or a bare minimum version, so you can know what it can hold and what it can do. So this guy, I found out he's not very good in the atmosphere. He weighs too much, so I'm going to have to... One more question. How long does it take for your fuel to run out? Alright. Well, let's address this real quick. So, how about I do this? Am I not putting landing gears on this thing? That's okay. That's a question with a lot of different answers. It depends on how you're using your fuel. And what fuel you're using. For this is mostly a battery powered. Now, for power, if you look to the left-hand side, you can see the 3 days. I have 3 days of power with what I'm currently doing. If I'm lifting off like here, I have an hour of power. And below that is your hydrogen level. So if you're, I don't know the numbers on how fast you can burn fuel, but say if we were burning fuel with a different ship, say, I did it again. I have not figured out what I've done yet. Now this guy, see, with that ship right there, you're not using much of hydrogen. With this one, I mean, it just depends on how you're using it. If you're flying around here, right now I'm in creative, so let me go ahead and land, and I'll turn it off of creative, and then we'll show you. Alright. Alright. So let's go ahead. So I have 15 minutes of power. So we're at 100%. Batteries at 100%. Fuel. So we're just gonna fly around for a bit and see how long it takes. So I only have these 2 hydrogen tanks for a small grid ship like this one. And I probably should turn off. Yeah, that's right. Turn off the medium, the small ones too, because I have reserve fuel just in case for emergencies. Either I need extra power or something. But yeah, so we've flown 4 kilometers and we're gone about 5%. So I mean, and I'm using fuel to stay in the air and fuel to go straight. So I mean, you can go a pretty decent amount without running out of fuel. I mean, this ship weighs a lot. So, I don't know. We'll keep flying for a little bit and we'll see. Alright, so now we've been flying for a good little bit. We're back at 87% fuel. We've been doing some turns and twists. We're still flying pretty good. With 86% left. And 45 minutes of battery left. So, I guess to say it's actually probably going to be pretty easy. I mean, you could probably go for a pretty decent amount of time if you have enough fuel. If I don't crash into something. Alright. We're going to go down this ravine and we're going to go straight into space. And we'll see if we can get there. If not, we get to see it crash. Alright, let's go for straight up. Alright, we're going straight up and down. With 72% left, let's see if we can make it to space. Now, since I'm here, if you can see my little thing at the bottom, in the middle, you can see A gravity and P gravity. P gravity is planet gravity, which is the Earth's gravity. A gravity is artificial gravity. So right now we are going straight up. And our planetary gravity is decreasing, which means if we keep going, pretty soon we're going to be literally in space where we don't have to use thrusters or anything to stay up. If you stay in gravity though, and you run out of fuel, eventually you will fall to the ground and crash. Except I'm pretty sure by the time you hit the ground, it won't matter how fast if you're going to crash from this height, you're practically done. We're almost halfway there. As you can tell, our atmospheric thrusters are kind of started to stop working, and now our ion thrusters are starting to take over. Takes a minute to get into space. Oh, we're still using max speed. Holding max speed going straight into space, and we're at 61%. We only have a third of a way to go. So I mean, we're gonna have enough fuel to fly around in space for a little bit before we run out. I mean, that's a lot of time though. That's with this ship. That's both our main thrusters straight, full power. So I mean, I'm wasting as fast as I can. Alright, our atmospheric thrusters just turned off. So now it's ion and hydrogen only. We're at 14 Gs left, so we're about into space now. Now, once we get into space, we'll go look at how much of hydrogen we actually have left. Like what percentage per tank and all that. So you can get I guess a better idea, possibly. I don't really know. I mean, we're halfway empty right now. We're halfway empty at 9.09 Gs, so I mean, we're in space, practically. Thirty kilometers. Wow. That's 2 kilometers off the ground right now. That's insane. We're at 0.505 Gs now. At 43% fuel remaining. Welcome to space. All right. So, let's go ahead. So we have at least 75% in all our batteries. We are above 25% in our fuel tanks in here. Those are small ones there. We can go into the computer here. We have 41.4%, 20 liters, which is, I mean, a little under halfway. And then we made it to space. We went, I think the end was around 30 kilometers, 30,000 kilometers. Or 30 kilometers. So, I mean, that's, you can go a ways on fuel. Definitely. And it's also nice to know that this ship can survive in space. Actually, I haven't tried this yet. On survival. So there you go. Hope that answers your question. Question is, how much air do I have left? Okay, I have 99%. Door sealed. We have 81% 7.5 power. We're doing pretty good. Got my computer here. And we have no power in our reactors anymore. Heck, we don't even have that much ammo, do we? Oh, we have some ammo. Hope that answers your question. Go see what that Mayday is. Just for the fun of it. We're in space. Let's see how good space combat is. Now, in space, what you can do is you can turn off your dampeners and keep your speed while not using any power. So, I mean, nothing is running right now. Well, something's running. So, I mean, we could be flying. Do whatever we're gonna do back here. Adjust our course. Course adjusted. Turn off dampeners again, and we're flying free. So in space, your dampeners are kind of like what stops you. Because if you run out of fuel, if you run out of power, you're going at a certain speed, you will not stop. There's nothing to stop you. There's no gravity, there's no nothing. If I turned it off, we're going to be running forever until we die of lack of oxygen. So. Look pretty cool though, to be honest. And with dampeners on, you can see up front that the both our hydrogen and ion thrusters are slowing us down. Alright, let's go see what this thing's all about. Oh, this might get really bad. This might end the video right now. Alright, if I'm gonna get in a fight, I'm gonna get this thing ready. Oh, we're sitting in it, okay. Alright. We're gonna go for weapons. This might get really messy, we'll see. Look at him! Running scared. Alright. Well, since his weapons are down, we're gonna go for propulsion. And now, power. Alright, so that was a nice little battle. So as you can see, we have taken out their weapons, their propulsion, and now their power. They can't move. Right now, only reason we're staying with them is because we have our dampeners off, which is keeping us from stopping, basically. Is that a bomb? Yeah, so they are now, since we're in space, are going to keep flying until eternity. Or until the game deletes them. Let's go back for propulsion. One more spin. Alright. Propulsion's back on. Or dampener's back on. So now we're slowing down. And he's not going to stop. Goodbye. And as you can see, put our helmet back on. Open our door. I mean, truthfully, we lost a couple ion thrusters. Minimal damage though, he only hit right there. Now going against a player is probably going to be a little harder, but... Oop. Alright, I guess we'll now head back toward planet surface. But yeah, now we're just heading straight toward the planet surface. Not caring in the world. Alright. Well, I'm going to end this video here. So, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any further questions about Space Engineers, let me know down in the comments. Because this video is going to be slightly edited, mainly to take out all the leaving the game and coming back into the game part. But other than that, it's going to be exactly the same. Other than that, though, if you guys are curious about anything else, want me to explain anything else, have any other questions, let me know down in the comment section so we can do another video. Hopefully in this world, if I can actually land, which we will see. But, I'll see y'all later. Alright. Peace out.